What's up guys, welcome to finally a new LumaFusion tutorial. If you want more LumaFusion tutorials in future, give this video a thumb up, subscribe to my channel and don't forget to activate the bell so you won't miss any further videos. And there will be further videos, I promise. Today's topic is a title we create together so you can use it in your videos. It's a pretty simple title, but looks nice. I've used it in one of my travel vlogs from Sweden, so in the last one from Kiruna, so check it out if you want to see the title in a real video, but of course I will show it to you on my iPad as well. And as always, this title will of course be part of my LumaFusion Ultimate bundle, which contains all my creative work like sound effects, transitions, titles, kinetic titles, LUTs, all you will need for LumaFusion, and it will be used via G Drive, so you can easily add it to your LumaFusion and it will automatically be updated with new content. So you only have to pay once and will get all further updates. But let's jump right into the iPad and we will create this title together and I will show you how it looks and how it works. In order to create it, and of course we will create it the way you can use it as a template, you have to create a new project. Let's call it simply title, and the frame rate we have to set it to 60 frames a second so we can use it in projects with faster frame rates as well. The first step we have to do is to create a new overlay title and change the length to 5 seconds. Double tap it to add it and go to the titles tab down there and delete it. Go to the plus and add a new shape and select the 3 pixel line up here. Then turn it by 90 degrees so it's upright and make it a bit wider and change the height. Yeah, like this. So this looks pretty good. And now place it at X50 and Y50, so directly in the middle of the frame. You can see it up down here. So it's 50-50 and that's perfect. Now there's a shadow as I see, and we don't want a shadow, we want a simply white line. And that's it with the creation of the line. So it's pretty easy, but of course we have to add animation. In order to create the animation, we go to frame and fit and size and position, and we add keyframes at 0.30 frames and at 4.30 frames, like this. And then we add another 2 keyframes at the beginning, so at 0.00 and at 4.59, so at the end of the layer. Now we're jumping back to the first keyframe in order to create the intro animation, so the incoming movement of the bar. To do this, we double tap the rotation and we're simply typing in 320 degrees. Like this, and we are changing the size to 12, like this, and that's it. Now we have a simply incoming movement with a rotation. That looks pretty nice, but it's of course not done yet. But we have to do the same at the last frame with a little difference. We have to set the size to 12 again, that's the same, but the rotation has to be minus 320, like this. So this is a pretty basic movement, and now we are going to smoothen it out. Therefore, we are adding 4 more keyframes, 2 at each end. one at 0.27 and one at 0.22, and the next one at 4.33 and 4.38, like this. At 0.22, we are changing the size to 86 and the rotation to 30 degrees, like this. And at 0.27, we are changing the size to 96 and the rotation to 4. And now we've got a smoother movement. Looks pretty cool. And we're doing the same at the end, just opposite. At 4.33, we are changing the rotation to -4. Oh, that doesn't work like this, unfortunately. So it's simply adding. So what you can do is just type the 0.0 and now add -4. That's it, how it works. And of course, the size has to be 96 like before, like this. And at 4.38, we are changing the rotation to -30, like this, and the size to 86. So the movement is just mirrored. Looks pretty cool. Yes, there's just one thing to do. Therefore, we have to go to blending and change the opacity. Add one keyframe at the beginning and one at the end. And another one at 0.05 and 4.55. At 0.0, change the opacity to 0 and the same at the end. And now we've got a smoother incoming movement. So it's just blending in, looks smoother than before. And that's it with the first layer. Now we're adding a second layer, which is a overlay title again, and changing the length to 5 seconds. Double tap to edit and go to the titles tab again and edit the text. I will change the font at first to Avenir Next. You can choose whatever font you like, but I like a very clean font and this one looks pretty cool. And I will change it to regular in the size of 43 for line spacing of 71%. Yeah. And the text has to be oriented to the right. Now I will just type in 2 lines of text because I wanted to have 2 lines, and I will type in a lot of text because I want the whole area to be filled out. That will be perfect for a template. And it's important to place it at Y50 with a little gap between the bar and the text itself. About like this. And now what we have to do is to animate it. So we have to create movement in order to make it more interesting. Therefore, we of course jump to frame and fit and size and position. And we are adding keyframes, one at 0.47 and one at 420. In between there will be no movement because the text is at the right position. So we have to create a movement intro and a movement outro, okay? Like with the bar. Therefore, we're adding 2 more keyframes, one at 0.26 frames. So we have about 20 frames to create a movement, and one at 4 seconds and 41 frames. And at the end and at the beginning, so this keyframe and the last keyframe, we are changing the position X to, in this case, 100. The same in this case. So what we've created is a movement into the frame we want to see. And as before, we are going to smoothen the movement out. So we are adding 2 more keyframes at each end. One at 0.44 and one at 0.39. And at the end, it's 4.23 and 4.28. At this keyframe, we are setting the position X to 16, like at this keyframe. And at the next keyframes, we are setting it to 4. So again, we've smoothed out the movement. So it's a bit slower at the end when it's incoming. And the same with the outgoing movement. The problem now is we are still seeing the text on the right side of the frame, and it's not hidden behind the bar. In order to create this effect, we have to go to cropping. And of course, we have to just copy the keyframes from there. So we are adding keyframes at 0.26. The next one is 0.39, then 0.44 and 0.47, and at the end it's 420, 423, 428 and 441. And what we're doing now is we're using the right slider to place it always at each keyframe right at the end of the white line. So everything behind the white line is hidden. Like this. And what this creates, it's creating the incoming text, and it's hidden behind the white bar. The same at the outgoing movement. And this is it. Looks pretty cool. Of course, this isn't it. We have to add another title layer in order to create a second text box. So edit, change the length to 5 seconds, double tap to edit, and again edit the text. And what we're doing now, in order to make it a little more special, I will also use Avenue Next as a base font, but the bold version this time, with a size of 41 and a line spacing of 75%. Like before, I will add a lot of text just to make sure it looks good and we have enough space if you want to use it as a template. This time we oriented to the left, of course at Y50, and again we are keeping a little distance to the bar. So about the same like the other one. This looks pretty good. Now of course we are jumping back to frame and fit and size and position, and we are going to add another 8 keyframes. It's the same movement like before, but it's 10 frames shifted. That means we are adding keyframes at 0.36, 0.49, 0.54 and 0.57, and here at 4.10, 4.13, 4.18 and 4.31. It starts 10 frames later and begins 10 frames earlier. That's why we couldn't just copy the other text layer. And like before, we are creating the movement. So we are changing the position to minus 100 at the first keyframe and minus 100 at the second at the last keyframe. Like this. And in between, we are smoothing out by minus 16, then minus 4, minus 4, and minus 16. So this is the whole movement. And like before, we have to do the same with cropping. So we're adding keyframes at 0.36, 0.49, 0.54 and 0.57 and 410, 413, 418 and 431. And again, the aim is to keep the left slider this time behind the bar.
Tell me that this is all just a dream. I'm still waiting for a different sign, waiting for someone to...
Like this. Let's have a look. Looks pretty cool. Just the white bar is a bit too big or too long in this case, so we are going to change this. Therefore, we are going back to the layer and we are searching for scale X, not scale Y, and making it a bit less from the height wise. So like this. But you can change this the way you want it, the way you think it looks best. To use this template in other projects, you simply have to multi-select it. Therefore, activate the multi-select button down here. Select all the 3 layers, select copy, and place it wherever you want them to be. And you just can simply edit the text and add the text you want it to be. That's it. So guys, this was the tutorial. I hope you liked it. Please give this video a thumb up, and again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and activate the bell so you won't miss any further videos. As always, this title will be part of my LumaFusion Ultimate Bundle, which contains all of my creative work, which you can easily add to your G drive and use it in LumaFusion to add it to your videos, so you don't have to follow this tutorial in order to get those titles. And of course, it also contains all my transitions, sound effects, LUTs, etc. all you need for LumaFusion. So go and check it out. Link is up there in the info box or down in the description. Have a nice day and we'll see each other in the next video. Till then, bye.